Hi everybody, we're going to do something fun today. This is using up loads of scraps of nice bits of specialty yarns. Look at this, it's like a little treasure trove. I do have the big balls of yarn, but sometimes I like to take a little bit off and put it on one of these embroidery thread cards. And then I have like a container, and this one's all blues and purples and pinks. I've got a brownish one, and you know, I might put all kinds of things in there if it fits in. So I've got some hairy ones, I've got some eyelash ones, all different bobbly kind of ones, mixtures, wool, just some variegated yarns, anything, so that I've got a nice little selection. So you could use your scraps, your odds and ends, and make something with that. I just thought that'd be fun. Now, I have done quite a lot with these before. I've actually got 3 kits that I do sell, and some lovely lady asked me to do a video on it, and I thought, yes, okay, why not? So, can you see what we have here is like a landscape, and the sun's shining on it a bit. But you get the idea. We've got a sunset sky, and then we've got, you know, a prairie. And this one is a sea, and this one is a field of flowers. So, how's it done? It is the easiest kit I make. You always use the Hessian background. You remember Hessian, or burlap, as they say in America, and a lovely big-eyed plastic needle. Lovely. And then I will use my little box of tricks here, and some plain ones to match. Now these things I buy from the op shop, the charity shops. So let's have a look here. I've made some bags, just simple little bags. And with just straight stitch, but the beauty is that it's specialty kind of yarns, bits and pieces. You know, it looks really cool. I like it. See this one? Nice bright one. You could make little mobile phone holders or little dilly bags of some description. This one's gorgeous. Right. And so you get the idea. Here's a brown one. There's a bright one. And this one here, far more subtle. I used it as an insert in a bag. Lovely mauves, smoky browns, and olive greens. Lovely. Okay. But let's start here with our coloured piece of Hessian, a needle, some snips, and in the kits, can you see here, I should have brought you a proper one, but you can see that I've got a sky in there. Well, that's a bit of hand-dyed linen, so I'm going to pop that on too, because I think it works really good. But you don't have to, or you could use something else. Just be inventive. Now see, if we popped that on there, and this is just me doing this business here to create sort of bobbly dark clouds, because it'll shine through. See how the colour's coming through? Not shining through, but it'll poke through, and that's going to be clouds or something. And a surround. So the kit comes with a surround so that you can make a nice picture. But I always like having that because it narrows your focus down so that you can see what you've got. So I quite like to do a furry one first because it covers up that edge there. You know, you can have it just disguising the edge a little bit. So I would just, you know, have a bit, and enough to go backwards and forwards a couple of times. And the beauty of the big-eyed needle is we can all thread it. Wonderful. There we are. And I don't even really bother, because it could be too much, I don't really bother to do the knots to knot off because you don't really want big bulky bits. So now I haven't taken the time to do it, but normally I do a stitch like the kit comes with overlocked to it already, but just in the interest of getting started, I'll try and do it through that. Do you remember when you were at school, you might have done your first stitching, preschool or kindergarten, and it would have been with one of these plastic needles, probably for safety. I'm not even really concerned that I'm not going straight. I don't mind. Kind of haven't decided what that is anyway. So, and then when I go back, I would think I would try to see how there's a gap between here and here, this one and this one. So I think I would try and do one so that it's covering that, just like when they, if you've ever seen bricks, see, it's continued that line on now. So yeah, so it doesn't matter whether you do big or small, but I would think it would be nice here to have, if you've got gaps, the one underneath it, make sure that you've covered that gap a bit. What I wanted to show you is the reason I put these a fluffy yarn is that we can then tease these out a little bit. What we end up with is an edge that is more easily disguised and more easily married in. So I'm going to just keep going. I might end up fast forwarding this bit in places so that you get the idea, but you don't have to watch me doing it. Let's have a look at some other interesting threads. Look at this bobbly one. Can you see that? Very exotic. Got a few different colours in. How would that look? Now you can just do as much as, like, as long as it's under one, that's fine. I want to do big gaps. Very therapeutic, and absolutely anyone can do it. This is a good one for getting your kids into sewing, for getting you know, the non-sewers. I don't want to pick up a needle because I don't know how. Those people into doing a little bit of fun stitching or even some textile art, they might surprise themselves. So now, because this is a picture, I'm not bothered about the ending off. If I was, I probably would do a few stitches behind with something a little thinner, or my mum was actually showing me the other day, she did something and she put some iron-on interfacing on the back, and that sort of glued and held and trapped those pieces. But once, it's only once you finish, because you need these giant holes to get your needle through. And we'll see what other goodies we've got. Well, I suppose I should use some plain ones. Here's a plain one. This is straight at the moment, and we're sort of concentrating on that. But imagine if I wanted to produce hills or something, and I did a curve instead and filled that curve in, and then filled in another one. And we will experiment further with this because it's a great thing, very effective, and it uses bits and bobs up. Now I'm just going to go straight here, and it'll leave a little gap. See that there? And you may think that's why I've used a coloured Hessian or burlap, so that I don't mind if those gaps are there. But also later I might decide I've got something special I want to put in there, maybe something glittery or just something. I could put a few beads there if I wanted and really bring it up. I can do a lot of things, but it's enough at the moment just because your yarns are pretty, and it's just going to come together no matter what you do, basically, I think. Now, because I've used a plain one, I'd probably try and use something not plain next. I don't know. I still want to make sure it goes, you know, if I was sensible, I'd do a little tailor's chalk kind of mark or something down the side there, but I just like to get into it. Here's a lovely a bobbly one, and it's, let's have a look at it and see how it is thin, and then it has a little circle on it, so it's probably something that should be used either 2 rows of it. Maybe I'll try it with 2 or with something else. I could use it with a plain piece of yarn and just have it as something extra. So, you know, because I could then, there, you made an interesting yarn like that. If I wanted it darker, I could add that. If I wanted it lighter. So, it's all so simple, but there's plenty of ways for you to vary it on the way that you're interested. I always say everything's about colour. I see people put a lot of work into things, but they don't use colours that are harmonious, shall we say. And it kind of wrecks it. Now, colours are individual things, so you do what you like, but yeah, try and think about, does that go? You know, should I do that? So, what do we try? We'll try it with this. We've got a plain wool and that lovely bobbly one, this for the texture, and this will probably help it blend if I wanted to blend it from one, you know, lot of colours to another. So this one I'll do a knot in it as well, I think. That's just the knot my mother taught me, and I've used it all my life. I don't think I can change now. Now, so we've got a touch of that. We could twirl our cottons so that it, you know, showed up a little bit more variegated. See what I mean? Twisting. Right. Let's choose some other ones, shall we? That's a velour. And I just adore the colours. What else? Well, this variegated yarn was quite good. We don't know what it will produce. I could probably use it in those gaps that were here in between. Something like that. There's a darker one. Always good to have dark and light. If it's all the same tone, it sort of doesn't look realistic. Look at this interesting thing. It's got all sorts in there. Maybe I'll put it there. Now this, I think they call it eyelash. I love it. What else have we got? Oh, there's a lighter colour eyelash. I think that's better. So many to choose from. So many different types. Some threads are also 2 threads joined together. You quite often get that. Or, oh, here's one, yeah, this pink one. See? 2 different threads. So you could use one or them both. Ah, look at that, sumptuous. Right, plenty there. So I'll put the box of goodies over there, and we'll just choose something. Now this, because this one's thick, I probably don't want to go backwards and forwards too many times. I'll probably just use it the once and call it done. We'll see what it does. There. And we can just continue. So just continuing on now with a couple more colours. If it becomes too tight, don't forget you can use the needle to just loosen it a bit, you know, pull the stitches up a little bit to allow a bit more room in there. I'm going to do a nice, electric blue fluffy kind of one now, with variegated with some green. So at this stage, all of these things are getting a bit of a nuisance, so it's not like I really need that much. But you see how they're starting to get attached into things where I didn't really want them to be, stuff like that.
And because this is a picture that will probably be under glass and in a frame, I'm not too worried about the ends coming undone. So we're just continuing now. It's looking good, not much more to do, but just adding a few more threads in there.
So I suppose you could call what we're doing weaving. So we are weaving in and out of that burlap. So this is one of those ones that I can pull the threads out later. I don't need to go right underneath. I could fill that up later. I might decide I'd like to use that down there more and have something else in between. We're not going to do anything too fancy in this first video,
but just that little curve that we've got there now, a few different curves, and filling in the gaps seems to work quite well. It suggests the hills or rises that might be there. So with a mixture of different threads, and some are smooth and some are furry, and then we just fill things in and keep going until we get to the end, adding the colors that you want, the textures. See, it's really looking quite pretty. I think I'll probably add some more greens in, some more colors. Yes, I've gone for the other box that has the greens in. Do love that. Like I said, I do color code these things a little bit to make it a little bit easier for me to find some things quickly. But there we go, some lovely greens. So this is also where the texture comes in. Again, that lovely bobbly green. It sort of brings in little bubbles of maybe bushes, or you know, it can be what you want to see. How it just sort of allows those little circly bubbles on it to come up here and there. Looks very interesting. And at this stage, I'm not just finishing the lines underneath, but I'm also filling some gaps. As you can see, you know, sometimes it's a bit sparse. Not that it matters. I have the purple underneath, but here I am trying again, always checking back to make sure that it looks okay within the frame. As I get to this finishing off bit, I'm just noticing that the sky, you know, I could put something like this lovely little textured yarn up there if I wanted to. I could put that to accentuate the clouds, doing some wavy lines up there. Just looking at all of these lovely threads gives you ideas. Well, we really should speed this up now and get to the end. It's just a matter of filling it in as you like. Here's the green bits that I really wanted to pop in. I'm adding in a little bit of pink too, maybe some flowers or something. Could possibly be adding too many colours in, but that's okay. You know, it's just up to you. So some more lovely wools that will help blend them in a little bit more. We're very, very close to the end. It's just a few little pockets to do here, and then we're done. So at the end you can step back and have a little look at it and see what you think. You might need to tease out some of these threads, like I said, some of the long ones that have maybe been trapped underneath others. You might find some gaps that need filling. Probably where these blue ones are here, that needed a bit, although we do have the purple underneath, but you know, maybe just a little something. So we try it with the surround again to see if we like it. And here I am, I'm just going to add a few little touches and then that will be it. Just in the gaps. It doesn't have to be in lines, it's just wherever I see a gap that needs filling. And there we are. How about a few buttons to finish it off, these lovely butterfly buttons? Or perhaps some flowers, or you could have maybe 3 sheep or something like that in the foreground. It's totally up to you. But it's quite effective, I think you'll agree. So whilst we're having a look at some close-ups here, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching. If you would like to like and subscribe to my channel, that would be wonderful. You can follow the links below for finding me anywhere else on the net. We'll just end now with a little look at the 3 kits I was telling you about. The sea, the prairie sunset, and the field of flowers. Really just showing you those stitched bottoms and how lovely the different kinds of colours can go beautifully together. Wonderful. Thank you for watching.